Chosen One, even you cheated death. You broke the ancient seal that once held the boundaries between life and the afterlife. What you have done is beyond comprehension, defying the natural order and rewriting the rules of existence. If you're hearing this, it's no accident. You are at the center of a powerful transformation, shifting from mere desire into the reality you have long awaited. This is more than a change in mindset. It's a deep, spiritual, and energetic awakening. As the one who has transcended death itself, you will witness the world aligning around you in ways that will leave you speechless. But to fully embrace this extraordinary shift, you must understand how it works and walk in harmony with this new power. Before we dive deeper, take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 11. This will send a powerful signal to the universe, amplifying the energy of this message. This moment marks not only your victory over the finality of death, but also the beginning of a reckoning that even the gods cannot ignore. If you are truly the chosen one, this message is meant for you. Listen closely, for your life will never be the same. From the dawn of time, stories have spoken of an unbreakable seal, an ancient bond that tethered life to death, ensuring balance and order in the cosmos. This seal was never meant to be shattered, a divine boundary etched by forces beyond mortal comprehension. Yet here you stand, the chosen one, who dared to defy fate itself and break through that sacred barrier. It wasn't just an act of rebellion. It was a moment that redefined the very meaning of existence. The earth trembles beneath your feet, and the heavens watch in stunned silence, for you have rewritten the rules that once seemed immutable. Breaking this seal was no simple feat. It demanded courage born from desperation, wisdom drawn from forgotten knowledge, and a spirit unyielding to the relentless tide of mortality. Many before you have tried, heroes, gods, and mortals alike, only to be consumed by the very death they sought to escape. But your path was different. It was carved through sacrifice, relentless determination, and a fire within that refused to be extinguished. You shattered the chains that bound the soul to the mortal coil, breaking free from a destiny that once seemed absolute. This act, monumental in its impact, was more than just personal victory. It echoed through the fabric of reality itself. To break the sacred seal was to challenge the cosmos, to shake the pillars of existence. The celestial order, once thought eternal, now quivers in uncertainty. And as the chosen one, you carry the weight of this cosmic shift. Your journey from mortal to immortal, from bound to free, is not only your story, but the story of all who dare dream beyond limits. Death has always been the great equalizer, the inevitable end to every story. No mortal has escaped its grasp, no matter how fierce the fight or desperate the prayer. Yet here you are, having transcended the very boundary that once defined your existence. To defy death is to challenge the natural order, a feat so profound it shakes the foundation of belief and fear itself. It is not merely survival, it is a metamorphosis into something beyond flesh and bone, beyond time and decay. Imagine the terror and awe this brings, knowing that your heartbeat no longer dictates your fate, that the shadow of death can no longer claim you. This freedom is intoxicating, yet it is also a burden, heavier than any crown. To walk beyond death's reach is to stand alone on a precipice where gods and mortals alike stare in disbelief. Your defiance reverberates like thunder across the universe, signaling a new age where the impossible is possible and the rules must be rewritten. Yet, This transcendence is not without cost. Immortality, born from the defiance of death, carries with it a loneliness so profound it can chill the soul. You watch as time flows endlessly, as loved ones fade, and as the world shifts around you while you remain. This endless existence forces you to grapple with your place in a universe now forever altered by your choice. What does it mean to be immortal when everything else is fleeting? This question haunts your steps even as you walk beyond death's reach. Even in your newfound immortality, the god of death, Anubis, watches you with wary eyes. His voice, a deep echo from the underworld, carries a warning wrapped in ancient authority. Death is closer than you believe. This is no idle threat. It is a reminder that the cosmic balance has been disrupted, and the forces that govern life and death will not stand still. Anubis, guardian of the dead, is both adversary and reluctant witness to your defiance, a god who respects the laws you have shattered but fears the chaos unleashed. His warning is laced with more than menace. It carries the weight of inevitability. Death, in all its forms, is not just a physical end. It is a cosmic force seeking equilibrium. The very fabric of existence resists your rebellion, and Anubis is the embodiment of that resistance. His words suggest that while you may have escaped the grasp of death for now, the price may come due in ways unforeseen. Through trials that test your soul, betrayals that cut deep, or enemies lurking in the shadows. This tension between your immortal defiance and Anubis's ominous presence creates a charged atmosphere of suspense and dread. The god of death's gaze is unrelenting, a constant reminder that your victory is fragile, that even gods fear what you represent. You are not just living beyond death, you are living under its shadow. And that shadow promises a reckoning, a confrontation where the fate of your soul and perhaps the universe hangs in the balance. Absolutely. I'll continue with the next 4 headings now, each expanded into rich, emotional, and immersive paragraphs, longer and more detailed, just as you want. I'll keep the tone dramatic, human, and deeply engaging. The pact that once bound life to death was not merely a cosmic rule, it was a solemn covenant forged in the dawn of creation, etched by gods and ancient forces with unyielding purpose. This pact guaranteed the cycle of existence, birth, life, death, and rebirth, a rhythm so fundamental that it formed the heartbeat of the universe itself. To shatter this pact was to break the sacred trust that held all things in balance. When you broke the seal, you fractured this eternal promise, sending ripples through the threads of destiny. Imagine the weight of such an act, the knowledge that what you have done could unravel the very order that sustains countless lives. The pact was meant to be inviolable, a line no mortal should cross. Yet here you are, standing on the ruins of that ancient agreement, your actions echoing louder than any war cry. You have rewritten fate's script, challenging the god's decree and shaking the foundation of what it means to live and die. Your defiance is both awe-inspiring and terrifying because it heralds an uncertain future. This shattered pact creates chaos and opportunity in equal measure. Without the binding force of death's certainty, the world is caught in a breathless pause, a moment pregnant with possibility and peril. Life may now linger in new forms, souls may refuse to fade, and the forces that once guided the cycle must reconsider their roles. Your breaking of the pact is a call to all beings, mortal and divine alike, to reckon with a reality where the old laws no longer hold sway. The universe watches, holding its breath for what comes next. Stepping beyond the threshold where life ends and death begins is a journey few dare to imagine, let alone undertake. It is a boundary marked by silence, mystery, and the unknowable. But you, the chosen one, have done more than cross this threshold. You have stepped through it, emerging on the other side, changed forever. This passage is not simply a physical transition, but a profound transformation of the soul and spirit, an odyssey that redefines what it means to exist. This crossing brings with it a flood of sensations, an eerie stillness, the whisper of forgotten voices, the echo of all those who came before you. You become acutely aware of the delicate balance that once separated the worlds of the living and the dead, and the immense power that lies within that divide. To traverse it is to walk a lonely path, one that few can follow without losing themselves. Yet you did not lose yourself. Instead, you emerged stronger, a being reborn with the weight of both worlds on your shoulders. But crossing this threshold is not without its shadows. The realm beyond life is filled with dangers, temptations, and revelations that can unsettle even the strongest mind. It challenges your understanding of reality and forces you to confront the deepest fears of oblivion, of loneliness, of the eternal unknown. Yet, through this journey, you gain a clarity few possess, the knowledge that life and death are intertwined threads in a tapestry far grander than you ever imagined. And now, as one who has crossed the divide, you carry a burden and a power unlike any other. When a seal forged by gods is broken, the consequences extend far beyond a single life or moment. Your act has sent waves crashing through the fabric of the cosmos, disturbing forces that have slumbered in perfect harmony for eons. These cosmic ripples are not just abstract concepts. They manifest in tangible ways, affecting stars, worlds, and the delicate balance of energies that sustain existence. What was once stable now trembles, and the universe itself feels the shock of your unprecedented defiance. These ripples are felt by the gods, spirits, and mortal beings alike, igniting unrest and fear. Ancient forces begin to stir, their watchful eyes turning toward you with a mixture of dread and fascination. The very nature of time, space, and life's cycle is called into question, forcing all entities, divine and mortal, to reconsider their roles in this newly fractured reality. Your breaking of the seal has opened cracks that could widen into chasms, threatening to swallow entire realms if left unchecked. Yet, within this chaos lies potential. The cosmic upheaval you have triggered offers a chance for rebirth and renewal. Old powers may fall, new alliances may form, and the universe itself could be reshaped by your actions. But such transformation comes with great risk. The ripples you have caused may provoke retaliation from gods protective of the old order or unleash forces beyond your control. The future hangs in precarious balance, poised between destruction and creation, and at its center stands you, the catalyst for a cosmic reckoning. Your resurrection was not just a return to life. It was a spark igniting a wildfire that threatens to engulf the universe in transformation. To come back from death itself is a sign that the impossible has occurred, a defiance so radical it shakes the pillars of existence and forces the cosmos to react. Your rebirth heralds a shift so profound that it demands attention from every corner of reality, from the smallest mortal soul to the highest God. This resurrection challenges the very concept of finality. It signals that death may no longer be the end, but a gateway to something beyond comprehension. This upends centuries of belief, tradition, and cosmic law, sending shockwaves through all planes of existence. Your return breathes new energy into ancient prophecies, stirring hope and dread in equal measure. For many, you are a beacon of salvation. For others, a harbinger of doom. But resurrection comes with a price. Your presence now disrupts the natural order, creating tensions and fears among those who once ruled unchallenged. Allies and enemies alike must reconsider their positions in this new reality. Some will seek to control you, others to destroy you. Your journey is now not just about survival, but about navigating the treacherous waters of power, trust, and destiny in a universe that has been forever changed by your return. Long before your first breath, long before empires rose and fell, there were whispers carried on the winds of forgotten time, prophecies etched into stone, sung in dying tongues, and guarded by seers whose eyes had glimpsed what was never meant to be. These ancient prophecies spoke not only of a chosen one, but of an impossible return, one who would cross the threshold of death and emerge eternal. A beacon of upheaval, cloaked in divine contradiction. They told of storms in the heavens, of stars veering from their paths, of gods trembling before a mortal who would become more than divine. Those words, once dismissed as madness or metaphor, now crackle with clarity in your wake. For your resurrection is the living echo of those prophecies, the fulfillment of destiny buried beneath layers of myth and denial. Temples burn candles in your image, while scribes revisit scrolls and cry out in realization. The Immortal One walks again. In distant lands, the wise and the wicked alike feel the stirring of old energies, the shifting of the world's axis around a figure they cannot yet name, but whose return has already changed everything. Yet not all who foretold your coming did so with hope. Some prophecies speak in darker tones, of fire following your footsteps, of divine fury unleashed in your wake. They warn of gods who will not bow, of a reckoning that must balance the unnatural resurrection you now embody. You are both the answer and the question, the cure and the curse. In their eyes, you are a prophecy fulfilled, but also a warning made flesh. You are no longer bound to fate, but you are now part of fate, and it bends, coils, and recoils around you. And in the quiet corners of the world, the forgotten prophets and hermits who once wept under blood-red moons now rise from their exile. They feel your presence in the shifting of winds and the trembling earth. They know the old days are dying, and a new era has been born, not with a war or a coronation, but with your breath rising again in defiance of the tomb. And while many await your guidance, others sharpen their blades, believing the prophecy was never meant to be fulfilled. The prophecy has become flesh. It walks, it speaks, it loves, it loses, it endures. And now that it has awakened, the world can no longer return to what it was. The gods are no strangers to rebellion. They have seen kings curse the heavens, mortals beg for immortality, and empires rise against the divine. But never before have they seen this, a mortal who did not pray for life, but took it back from death's hands. Your act was not just a defiance of a single god. It was a challenge to the very order they swore to uphold. And the gods of death, led by the watchful Anubis, have taken notice. Their temples grow cold, their altars still, as they watch the impossible unfold before their eternal eyes. Anubis, the guardian of souls, once passed silent judgment on the dead. His scales weighed hearts with precision, and his realm remained untouched by mortal hands. But now, you have entered that realm and returned untouched. His domain, once inviolate, has been breached, not by an army, not by sorcery, but by a singular will that refused to fade. His silence now breaks in whispers, that rattle the underworld's gates. The balance has been broken. He does not seek vengeance. Not yet. But he watches. He waits. And he prepares. Other gods of death, once hidden in forgotten cultures and twilight dimensions, feel the disruption as well. Hell of the Norse underworld stirs from her frost-covered throne. Hades pauses in his shadowy halls. Baron Samedi laughs from beyond the veil, sensing mischief and mayhem. Your return unites these diverse and distant pantheons in one truth. Death, the great constant, is no longer absolute. And if death can be denied once, what else might crumble? But among the gods, not all are afraid. Some are intrigued. Some see your resurrection not as heresy, but as prophecy in motion, an evolution of existence they must either resist or embrace. Alliances may form, divine champions may rise, and ancient rivalries may be reignited. The old hierarchies are no longer secure, and in the middle of this divine storm stands you. Once mortal, now more than legend, your very breath challenging eons of divine dominion. They cannot kill what has already died and returned, but neither can they ignore the one who dared to touch the fire of death and emerge unburned. In the moment of your fall, they celebrated. They danced in the ashes of your defeat, believing you were gone, reduced to memory, buried by time, devoured by the silence that follows a hero's death. Your enemies toasted your demise, blind to the truth. Death was not your end. It was your awakening. They mistook stillness for surrender, absence for annihilation. And that mistake, that fatal misjudgment, will haunt them far more than your sword ever did. They do not understand that resurrection changes everything. The warrior who returns is not the one who fell. You have been reforged by the fires of the beyond, reborn with vision sharpened by the void. Your enemies remember who you were, but they do not yet comprehend what you have become. Their tactics are outdated. Their hatred is rooted in a past version of you that no longer exists. And now, as you walk through the shadows they once claimed, they feel the ground shift beneath their feet. Some will deny your return, branding it illusion or trickery. Others will panic, seeking desperate alliances to stop what they don't understand. But the wise among them will know. Death does not free them from your wrath. If anything, it seals their doom. Because now, you fight not just with vengeance, but with the clarity of one who has seen the end and chosen to come back. You have become a myth made real, a warning they can no longer ignore. And still, some will come to you, not with swords, but with fear, veiled as diplomacy. They will beg, flatter, and try to sway you, hoping to cage what cannot be killed. But you are no longer shackled by fear or pain. You are beyond bargaining. You are beyond intimidation. Your resurrection is a storm they cannot outrun, a tide they cannot hold back. Their mistake was believing death was defeat. Now, they will learn that your return is retribution. In underestimating your silence, they have awakened your storm. And the reckoning they once feared from your life is nothing compared to what you now carry from the realm beyond death. Every epic has its spark, its single act that pushes a soul from the mortal into the mythic. Yours was betrayal. Not by strangers, but by those closest to you. Those whose hands you once held, whose words you once trusted, whose loyalty you believed unbreakable. Their treachery was the knife that cut deepest, not the death blow itself, but the betrayal behind it. It shattered your heart long before it stopped your breath. And yet, it is in that very heartbreak that your true ascension began. They thought their betrayal would silence your legacy, but it did the opposite. It lit a fire in the ashes of your soul, a flame so fierce it reached across the veil between worlds. Pain became purpose, loss became fuel, and betrayal became the crucible that forged your immortality. For what is a god, if not a mortal who has suffered so deeply that their soul transcends? In your death, they created a legend. In their lies, they forged your truth. Now you carry their betrayal not as a wound, but as a banner. You wear it like armor, a reminder that love can turn to poison, but also that poison can be refined into power. The names of those who betrayed you may fade from history, but their treachery lives on in your fire. You rise not just to reclaim your life, but to prove that betrayal is not the end. It is the beginning of transformation. They built your crucifixion, but they also built your resurrection. And when you look back at their faces, those who once walked beside you, you no longer see pain. You see clarity. You understand now that your destiny was never to walk with them, but to rise above them. Their betrayal did not destroy you. It revealed you. It forced you into the fire that would burn away weakness, fear, and doubt. And what emerged from those flames was something divine. So let them tremble in their castles of deceit. Let them pray to gods they no longer understand. For the one they betrayed has become something they cannot defeat. Excellent. Let's continue and bring this to a powerful conclusion. Below are the final 4 headings, 12 to 15, each expanded into 5 long, immersive paragraphs filled with emotional weight, poetic intensity, cinematic detail, and the voice of a human storyteller rather than a machine. We are completing a full, professional script that could be used in fantasy storytelling, game lore, or cinematic narration, or symbolic act. It sent an invisible shockwave through the spiritual fabric of all existence. Energy that had long been sealed away began to move, rising from hidden depths and long-forgotten vaults of reality. The air shimmered with a strange stillness. Dreams became visions, silence became music. All who were attuned to the deeper threads of the world could feel the change, not as a moment, but as an eternal turning point. The seal wasn't just a boundary. It was a pressure valve holding back limitless spiritual potential. As the seal shattered, ancient forces were awakened. Guardians that had not stirred for centuries, yet within that burden lies the power to shape, to guide, to protect. Because you do not die, you can witness the great arc of time. You see consequences others never lived to regret. You remember old wisdom that the world forgets. You become a lighthouse in the storm, distant, eternal, unwavering. And sometimes, in the eyes of those who come to you in need, you see the truth, that your immortality is not just a curse. It is a chance to serve something far greater than yourself, but it is still a heavy crown. Immortality doesn't numb you. It sharpens every loss, every betrayal, every tear. You feel deeply because you endure. You love even though you know it will end. That is the mark of your strength. That is what separates you from the gods who grow indifferent over eons. You, despite your eternity, still care. And that choice, to continue loving, guiding, and fighting despite the pain, is what makes you truly immortal. In time, the world may forget why you walk its roads. They may build statues or cast you as villain or saint, but it will not matter, because you were never seeking memory or myth. You simply refused to die, and in that refusal, you became the anchor of a world too fragile to stand on its own. In the darkness of a broken world, where hope is scarce and fear thrives like a disease, you shine with a light no sun can rival. It is not the light of fire, nor of magic. It is something deeper, a radiance born of suffering, forged in resurrection, pulsing from the soul of one who has seen the end and returned not in rage, but in purpose. You are not a beacon by choice. You are a flame that refuses to go out, even when surrounded by storm and shadow. Your light is not blinding. It is revealing. It exposes truth where lies have long taken root. It shows the monsters lurking behind beautiful masks. It shows the brokenness others have buried, and for some, that light is too much. They run from you, call you a heretic, a curse, a disruption to their order. But the innocent, the forgotten, the silent, the desperate, they flock to your flame. They feel warmth for the first time in years. They believe again, not in gods, but in the possibility of something better. But your light is also a weapon against the creeping shadows that rise in the wake of your resurrection. You burn with fury. Demons flee your gaze. Spirits step aside. Lies cannot hold in your presence. You are not simply surviving. You are reshaping the battlefield. You do not chase the light. You are the light. And everywhere you step, shadows tremble. Because your glow is not passive. It is fierce. It is just. And it will not dim for anyone. Still, your light comes at a cost. The brighter you shine, the more visible you become to those who seek your end. Every flicker draws attention. Every act of compassion paints a target. And sometimes, the people you save will not understand you. They will fear what they cannot name. They will ask why you don't age, why you know things you shouldn't. But even when they doubt you, your light never dims, because it is not for them, it is from within. In the end, your light is not a gift from the gods. It is your resistance, your memory, your love turned radiant. It is every step you took out of the grave. And as long as there are shadows, your light will rise to meet them. And now, we come full circle. For no matter how far you walk, no matter how brightly you shine, death remains. Not as an enemy, but as a presence, a whisper, a shadow walking a few steps behind you. You've beaten it once, you shattered its claim. But the reckoning is not over, because death is not simply an end. It is a law, a force, a rhythm, and even you, in all your immortality, must answer to it. One day. Anubis watches still, his scales waiting. You've defied his judgment, but you have not erased it. Somewhere, somehow, a balance must be restored. For everything taken, something must be given. The reckoning is not punishment, it is completion. The universe does not tolerate gaps. The energy that brought you back demands purpose, or it will collapse into chaos. This is the final truth you must carry. Immortality does not grant freedom from the reckoning. It delays it, transforms it, reshapes it, but it does not remove it. You know it is coming. You feel it in the silence between heartbeats. Not fear, but understanding. A promise made in the cosmos. A time when the world will ask for payment. It may not come as a battle or a god. It may come as a choice, as a sacrifice. And when that moment comes, when the reckoning rises like a tide, you will not run, because you were never reborn to hide. You were reborn to stand. And so, you prepare, not with dread, but with resolve. You train, you heal, you protect, you light the fires of others, knowing your time will come to face what no one else can. And when the reckoning steps from the shadow, it will not find a broken soul. It will find a warrior, ready to meet it with open eyes and steady hands. The gods, who once walked as legends, now found themselves lost in mortal uncertainty. They feared what you represented: change, revolution. a new age where gods might answer to mortals, where immortality was no longer their exclusive domain. Your existence was an insult to their throne, but also a temptation. Still, among them, there were those who remained silent, watching, measuring. They saw something different in your defiance, not rebellion, but potential. The dawn of a new divine order, where fate was forged not by decree, but by will. These few began to shift in your favor, subtly at first. A whisper here, a broken rule there, seeds of support planted beneath the chaos. You may not know them yet, but their eyes are on you. And now the divine assembly stands fractured, no longer a pantheon of order, but a battlefield of belief. You did not declare war on the heavens, but the heavens may soon declare war on you. The world forgets fast. Empires fall, heroes fade, names vanish like footprints in the tide, but you have returned. And with your return, so too do memories. First in dreams, then in whispers, then in song. They remember your face, etched in legend, carved into ruin. They remember the stories told at hearths and battlefields about the one who defied the end and paid with more than just life. At first, it is the old ones who speak of you, those who live closer to yesterday than tomorrow. They recognize something in your eyes, something they saw once when they were young. They do not call you by your current name. They call you by the names you once wore. Names the world, buried in sacred soil. Names that once echoed through temples. They weep when they see you. They remember. Then the young begin to feel it. Not memory, but resonance. A pull they cannot explain. A familiarity wrapped in mystery. They see you walk and feel braver. They hear you speak and feel understood. Your presence ignites something ancient in their hearts. Hope. Not the fragile hope sold in politics or prayers. Real hope. The kind that lives even after everything else dies. You start to hear your name sung in secret places, in chants beneath moonlight, in murals painted in rebellion. You are no longer legend. You are legacy. And with your presence, the world begins to remember not just who you were, but who they were when they believed. You become a mirror for the forgotten soul of humanity, a reminder that death is not the end of purpose. You do not ask for their worship. You ask only that they remember, and in doing so, they begin to believe again. Not in gods, not in myths, but in the strength that lives inside themselves. Where light rises, shadow deepens. Your resurrection, your flame, your defiance. They cast a long shadow across existence. And in that shadow, new monsters are born. Creatures not from nature, but from the imbalance itself. Made not of flesh or bone, but of memory, fear, and the broken laws that once bound death in place. They do not hunger for food. They hunger for you. These monsters are drawn to your flame like moths, but not to bask in it. They come to snuff it out, to devour what they cannot understand. Some speak in dead languages. Others carry faces of people long lost to you. They are cunning, unholy, twisted echoes of things that should never have survived